Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding.
The word fake gets thrown around a lot when people talk about pro wrestling, but anyone who actually knows about this business knows that the training, timing, and potential danger involved makes this non-sport one of the worst decisions you could possibly make for the safety of your own body. And of all the ways to get injured, the scariest has to involve the big blows to the head, from the concussions to the just straight up knockouts. This collection of head trauma put wrestlers down a little bit longer than just a 3 count. I'm D. Wicker from Watch WWE, and here's 10 times that wrestlers were legitimately knocked out cold. Number 10, The Miz. John Cena versus The Miz main evented a WrestleMania this decade. Isn't that kind of weird? Cena had 3 events at the grandest stage of them all this decade. 2 of them were against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and 1 of them was against The Miz. Isn't that even way weirder? Especially considering all 3 were intermingled in the same weird 3-year storyline. During the first of 3 matches involved, Cena took on Miz in a pretty solid match that saw them both find their way to the outside for a duration of the bout, where Miz would take not 1, but 2 very impactful spears on the raw concrete, with the second one busting him up real bad. Miz was out cold for a short period, during which, thankfully, The Rock was already cued to come out and cause some interference. All you need to see is Miz post-victory just a couple minutes later. Dude, look at his face.
John Cena got the better of The Rock last week on Raw. Cena set Chicago on fire.
Number 9, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle might have won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck, but apparently he wasn't good enough to win the WWE Championship with a concussion. During SummerSlam 2000's main event, Kurt Angle was taking on both Triple H and The Rock for the title in a pretty good match that's only really memorable for the aforementioned concussion. Triple H had Angle on the outside, set up for the pedigree on top of one of the announcer's desk before jumping. Unfortunately, all that Triple H big game H Papa Daddy of NXT leg power ended up doing was pushing said table downwards, completely crashing it, sending both men crashing to the floor below. It looked so bad. It was horribly embarrassing for WWE, revealing just how weak those tables really were, and the stunt ended up knocking Angle out and taking him out of the damn match for a good while. Number 8, Daniel Bryan. While Sheamus' massive boot to the forehead temporarily took D-Bry's career away from him, maybe with moves like this happening all the time, it's no wonder he ended up the way he did. On a random SmackDown episode back in 2011, Bryan was facing off against Alberto Del Rio, which is the version of Alberto Del Rio's ring announce name if you take away the rolling R's. Sounds pretty weird, doesn't it? Who is also pretty well known for some kicks now and then. While Bryan was down, Del Rio went for one such kick and accidentally landed it right on the temple, dazing Bryan completely. He wasn't knocked out per se, but he did have to ask Del Rio a bunch of questions, such as, hey, where are we? He didn't realize he was wrestling a match. Jesus Christ, maybe, just maybe, retirement would not be the worst idea for the man.
You know why he's dumb? Because he told the world when he's going to cash in his contract. There goes the surprise factor, number 1. Number 2, the ego.
Number 7, Sheamus. The knocking out of Shamo didn't take place in the ring or on any sort of WWE programming. Instead, the big bad Irishman found himself on the losing end of a backstage scuffle against Yoshitatsu? What in the hell? Does anyone even remember that guy? Seriously, answer in the comments below, because I basically grew up watching through this era and could not tell you one thing he did. Well, anyways, according to reports, Shamo didn't only lose the fight, but ended up getting slammed down onto the concrete floor by Tatsu, completely knocking him out.
I think it's time we broke up. Goodbye.
Number 6, Chavo Guerrero. While Billy Kidman was an impressive in-ring talent, rumor has it he had a bit of a reputation backstage for being a fairly dangerous opponent. He might have had the best looking shooting star press in the business, but seriously, when you cut the air as closely as he always did, eventually something's gotta go wrong. Just has to. And it did. During a tag match on SmackDown, Chavo found himself in the drop zone before Billy went for the press. Unfortunately for Chavo, Kidman jumped just a smidge to the right, which, when you're in midair, results in a very big change, like a pair of knees going straight into Chavo Guerrero's face.
Chavo is out. Here's Kidman. Shooting star press. Whoa! Here's the cover. It's over.
Number 5, Vincent Kennedy McMahonnerisms. Well, yes, here's another entry we can't exactly provide footage of. The story surrounding it is a bit more interesting than just, an Irishman pissing off Yoshitatsu. Vince McMahon, infamous owner of WWE, was ousted from hiding that position back at the 1997 Survivor Series. Guess where I'm going with this? That's right, the unfortunately legendary Montreal Screwjob incident where Bret Hart couldn't even find a way out of his own submission and tapped. What a puss. Now you know the story, come on. Shawn slapped on the sharpshooter, Vince comes out, calls for the bell, Bret's off to WCW, but before he can make his way out of the company, he gave Vince a nice little parting gift delivered to the side of the head backstage.
Stunning.
Number 4, Enzo Is An Idiot. Caveat, in his post-WWE career, Enzo Amore has proved that he actually does understand business and marketing fairly well, no matter how Johnny Knoxville he is about his ways, i.e. trying to cause riots at WWE events after getting fired from the company. No, seriously. Really shouldn't be surprising he ended up getting the boot anyway, besides all the horror stories that came out over the years. Enzo was just pure garbage inside of a wrestling ring. Nothing more than a rag doll to get beaten repeatedly to implore a big Cass hot tag. Enzo couldn't even get that right against the Vaudevillains when Simon Gotch went to throw Enzo out of the ring. Nice simple baseball slide. Literally, all you have to do is slide. Just slide. You ever played baseball in 3rd grade? Just slide, you f***ing idiot. Nice and easy, and the idiot couldn't even get his head down in time before concussing himself due to whiplash. Wow.
Make it to the finals of this tournament now. One match away. Wow, man. Wow. Did you see the way that I'm talking about whiplash?
Number 3, Steve Austin. Stone Cold might have been the toughest son this side of WWE's alumni page, but his neck wasn't always on that same page. Back at SummerSlam 1997, the Rattlesnake faced off against Owen Hart in a usually forgotten Kiss My Arse match. Yes, arse. And that stipulation was still in effect despite the fact that Austin ended the match with a broken neck and paralysis. This match is infamous for pretty much ending the piledriver's usage in WWE, because after Owen picked up Austin and just held him a little tad bit too low, just a smidge, and went for the driver, it pretty much disappeared after that, barring Undertaker's tombstone variant. Undertakers. And as for Austin, he's not only found himself with the broken freaking neck and paralysis, but knocked out Stone Cold for about 15 seconds. He still won the match, too, by the way, and Owen had to kiss his arse, because LOL Austin wins, I guess.
How about that?
Number 2, The Undertaker. Well, CM Punk just made his return to the WWE, and in his honor, look in my eyes, what do you see? A concussed old man's broken legacy. No, seriously though, look at The Undertaker after his match with Lesnar at Mania 30, and try telling me with a straight face that this man has any clue where he is. After taking a bump to the head a third of the way through the match, the Phenom found himself massively concussed and completely unable to heed the match, leading to Lesnar sorta just dominating until the very shocking finish. Credit to Taker, not sure if there's ever a moment where he's straight up knocked out, which, like Lesnar at WrestleMania just over a decade earlier, seems almost goddamn impossible. Look at his eyes, man.
Fighting for their place in history. Undertaker signals it's over. Maybe he's not human.
And number 1, Shane McMahon. And speaking of eyes, Jesus, did Shane's tell a brutal story back at Survivor Series 2016. For some ungodly reason, Shane thought it necessary to put himself at the helm of Team SmackDown over, the pro wrestlers on his roster. But whatever. Shane's always been more stuntman than performer, so it's only natural that his knockout came after a big coast-to-coast. Attempting to dive on a fallen Roman Reigns, the big dog found a way up to his feet and into the air by the time Shane was making his leap of faith. The spear was awesome. But it was really obvious something had gone wrong, especially after getting a good look at Shane's face about 5 seconds later.
Shane going across. Oh my
those are 10 times that wrestlers were legitimately knocked out in the WWE. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and notifications, ring that bell.